Hello everyone, welcome to this month's OptiStar webinar. My name is Glenn Wilson and I am the Cloud Systems Specialist at OptiStar. I am also the Trainer in Residence. Now in this webinar, I'm going to be discussing a fun topic, Microsoft Teams Voice, also often referred to as Teams Calling. Now specifically, we will be discussing what it is, how it works, and whether or not it makes sense for you to consider switching your current phone system out for a Teams-based software phone system. So let's get started. Now, Microsoft Teams Voice is a cloud-based phone system that you can set up as an add-on for Microsoft 365. Just imagine the old school phone systems, but entirely in the cloud, which allows it to be easily accessible from any mobile device, your computer, or even from a desk phone if desired. Now, having a phone system based in the cloud that's accessible from multiple device types with no expensive hardware infrastructure or restrictive contracts with messy phone vendors is an important part of the transition to what I would call the modern office environment. For a simple monthly fee, you can make and receive calls using auto attendant, call groups, call park, direct dial numbers from anywhere, internet required, of course. And usually when we talk about this, we get a lot of questions from folks after introducing them to the concept. So I'm going to try and answer those questions for you right now. So number one question, how does it work? Well, Teams Voice is user-based. That means that each user you wish to use it will require an add-on license to their current Microsoft 365 license. Obviously, this also requires that you first have Microsoft 365 licenses, but I'm guessing that you are watching this because you already use Teams, or maybe you're planning to employ Teams in the near future. You only need to license the people who need direct numbers, by the way. Part-time staff or people who don't need to be dialed directly don't require a license. Now, they can still chat with and call others inside of Teams without this additional add-on license. The next question we usually get is, can I keep my old phone numbers? Well, the answer to that one is almost always yes. The vast majority of businesses own their numbers and can legally transfer them to another provider. But there are some specialty numbers that may belong to your vendor, and you were just maybe leasing those numbers, so they would not be available to transfer. I've seen this with some fax numbers, for example, in the past that couldn't be transferred because they belonged to the company you were leasing them from. But overall, the answer has almost always been yes. Now, what about desk phones? The short answer is there are desk phones. They are available. They are built specifically for Teams calling, but they're pretty expensive and, in my opinion, almost totally unnecessary. So I usually try and steer people away from them. If it's set up properly, you already have a desk phone for Teams. It's that cell phone in your pocket that you sometimes set on your desk. We'll talk more about that later. Now, you might say, I need after hours, I need rollover abilities, I need an auto attendant. Can Teams do that? Absolutely. Teams Voice has a very customizable system for setting up after hours processes, holidays. You can set up auto attendants to answer your phones and intelligently route incoming calls as needed. You can set up internal call queues, or what we used to call hunt groups, so that callers can be routed to the people they need when they need them. And what about conference calls? Well, yes, Teams Voice has several options, which I will discuss in more detail in a moment. So let's say, what can't Teams Voice do? Well, for starters, it can't fix your bad internet problems. If you have an unreliable or slow internet connection, not only will Teams Voice not work optimally, but I don't think anything else that's cloud-based is going to work very well either. If we can't help you to get better internet, which I doubt we definitely can help you to find better internet, then I would not recommend using Teams Voice. Teams Voice cannot receive SMS text messages, but there are third-party services that interact with Teams and they can handle this feature for you. Plus, Teams already has its built-in chat feature, so anyone already using Teams can use that to reach you by message. What about faxing? Nope, not an option in Teams. If you are one of those businesses that still relies on fax services, then you would have to move to a digital fax service, which honestly is the better option anyway. You should be there today, whether you move to Teams Voice or not. Lastly, it won't run itself. Like most cloud systems, Teams Voice is easy to get set up, easy to use, but it isn't exactly set it and forget it. Nothing in the cloud really is. There's always new features and new security options being released, so it will need to be managed just like any other system. But at OptiStar, we can manage it for you. In fact, this is exactly what it looks like when we manage it for you. Exactly. Now, whenever a new technology would come out in the old days, we used to always say that it won't go anywhere until it can find its prime function, or the term we preferred to use, its killer app. Now, the thing that this new technology can do better than any other tech, and therefore will make it truly stand out from the other tech. Well, for me, the killer app in Teams Voice is the mobility features. Desktop phones have a number of drawbacks. They're expensive, they take up desk space, and they're just so yesterday's tech. As late as 2004, over 90% of Americans still had landline phones. But in 2018, that number was down to 40% and is almost certainly lower today. The old landline phone is quickly becoming extinct, replaced by mobile phones. Teams Voice lets businesses follow suit and ditch the desktop phones. Now, running the Teams app on your mobile phone or even on your tablet will give you all the same functionality as any desktop phone, but with the ability to move with you throughout the office, or even into your car, or out into the field. Plus, when you use Teams on your mobile device, you can make calls from your work phone number from your mobile device without having to reveal your cell phone number to the call recipient, which can be very nice when you want to be sure your intake policies are followed properly. Now, with the app installed on a tablet, you can even turn your tablet into a cell phone. As long as you have internet connection, you have a phone. And in places where your cell signal may be weak or non-existent, if you can get connected to any Wi-Fi, well then, you have a phone. Now let's see your desktop phones do that. Now you're not giving anything up by moving from an on-premise phone system to Microsoft Teams Voice. In fact, you may be gaining more features than that a landline system doesn't actually have. Now, some of the many enterprise class features that you could enjoy with 365 Voice include Auto Attendant. The Auto Attendant feature is very robust, very smart, and very good at answering calls and routing them. You would get cloud voicemail with transcription, mind you. So those voicemails get sent to your email and they are in Teams so that you can access them in both locations. You can read the transcripts, and if you need to listen, you can always listen to the attached recordings. Call queues, being able to set up hunt groups, custom greetings, hold music, audio conferencing is available. Custom ringtones, group call pickup, simultaneous ring. You can set Teams to ring on every device that you're logged into at the same time. And there's much more. Now, the conference calling, well, that can be set up using either a speakerphone device, which is set up as an Exchange resource room that can be booked in Outlook meetings, or with add-on licenses, your team members can be set up with individual audio conferencing licenses to host their own conference calls inside Teams meetings. The entire system can be managed from one central location in the 365 admin console, but you can manage call queue membership from Outlook without having to rely on anyone else to assist. We'll show you how. So is it worth the switch? That's the big question. Now, if you're a small or a medium-sized business, this is an easy answer. Definitely yes. You will reduce your costs. Businesses that switch to a cloud-based phone system can save on average between 30 to 50% on your current phone costs. And that's with no loss in features, no long-term contracts. Microsoft does everything month to month, flexibility, scalability, and functionality with no investment in infrastructure other than if you needed to improve your internet. That makes this, in our opinion, a no-brainer for small businesses. Now, the setup can be done in a day, unless you have numbers that you do want to port over. In that case, the setup can still be done very quickly, but only as quickly as your current numbers can be ported over, and sometimes we're at the mercy of vendors for that, but I've never seen it take more than 2 to 4 weeks tops. Now, if you're a larger organization, well, much like anything else in the cloud, it would need to have its per user cost be measured versus the long-term maintenance of an existing phone system. But if those numbers add up, and they usually do, and the feature set meets everything you're looking for, and I bet you it does, then for a larger organization, I would say this is a no-brainer as well. Yes. It is important to note that there are a lot of technical details in the mix here. Some features may not be available that you want. Some features may be available that you don't need. But from our view here at Optistar, Microsoft Teams Voice Teams Calling is a winner. We use this system ourselves, having switched more than a year ago from our old phone system, and we've never looked back. The ability to tie the entire cloud phone system into Office 365, where all of our user identities are already tied together, is quite useful. The seamless integration with Office 365 products and suites is another win. And if you've been on the sideline on this one, if you've been trying to see or wait to see what happens, I think it's time for you to get into the mix. So thanks again for joining us today to discuss this. Reach out to us if you're interested. We can answer any questions you may still have. Just call us at 888-782-7003, or you can send us an email to ask@optistartech.com. Or you can reach out to your Optistar account manager if you have one, so he can help you review your current system to see if Teams Voice might be a better option for you. And if you don't have an Optistar account manager, well then reach out to us at ask@optistartech.com. We'll see if we can get you one. Take care and stay safe.